as well. Let's talk a little bit about that. What's been the response that you've received? I mean, you've talked about online and some of the hateful comments you're receiving there, but within the Muslim community where you are, what has been the response to yourself, to what you are doing?
I think for me, hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, so I think for me, I started reciting really early, at a really early age, and I took part in the national Quran competition on Islam Channel back in 2006, which was, a global competition, and the response then was, throughout the competition, it was quite great, and I reached, with God's blessing, I reached the final and became the first female winner of the competition. And it quickly grew a fan base, but with that came a lot of support and a few judgmental eyes, mainly because I was a female reciter. And at that time, there were not any female reciters on TV or in public domain, so this became a big deal within the Islamic community. So for me, it was only natural that there would be small pockets of the community who would speak negatively due to the fact, due to the fear of the unknown. And this was uncharted territory for both, Muslims and non-Muslims. And so I did receive a bit of negativity, but, I quickly realized that I acknowledged it and, consciously moved past it and focused on, the purpose. And my purpose was always to make a positive change to the Islamic society and the world at large.
So let's talk about that then. What have you been doing? What have both of you been doing to actually try and change these attitudes? And how has that been met with people in the communities that you are living in? Naseba, go ahead.
So I dedicated my teenage years, from the age of 12 and my young adulthood, to building a bridge between the Western culture and the Islamic world. By balancing both my recitation, my education and work in the fashion industry, I have, continuously tried to show that the words of the Quran can be used on your day-to-day life. And I have now reached a stage in my professional life where, as the owner of the world's first Islamic creative art school, where we teach cross-faith values of Islam through creative mediums like drama, singing, and art,
Let's focus on the recitation for the moment. With all due respect.
I'm saying that people have followed the journey from when I was young, so my experience is so different because I'm not just a female reciter. I have a lot going on. So from a young age, and I resonate with, every Muslim or every non-Muslim female growing up in this country. So since I have showed my process and my journey, I've seen that people started respecting me and my journey as a female reciter, and support and love me from then on. So early on, I did receive
Madina, how do you think attitudes to female recitation amongst women, more than just individuals, do you think those attitudes are changing? Is it going to be more comfortable to see recitations from women in mosques, in public? Do you think that's where we are headed, or do you think that actually we're a long way away from that yet?
So as part of launching my Female Reciters campaign online, I was able to use the internet and technology to really raise awareness of Muslim women's voices, and I created a hashtag Female Reciters, and I've really been doing this women's rights movement in a very gentle and graceful way to revive this beautiful Islamic tradition that is alive in parts of the world, and to rehabilitate women's voices in our communities. And it's really lovely to be able to take advantage of technology to share videos and recordings of many Muslim women that I've met on my journeys travelling the world in Bosnia and Croatia, and even finding old recordings of women who were on Egyptian radio in the 1930s and 1940s. We have examples of Kulthum and a really famous woman who went on to become a singer. And a really important aspect of my movement is that it's not just about one person, it's about all women. It's about women coming together and supporting each other, like as Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And I've been able to make a lot of these examples of women reciting more prominent and noticeable through the online space. And it's really lovely to be able to encourage other women to join in and contribute, and also support one another. And I think it's really, as information spreads a lot faster online, it does raise a lot more public awareness faster, and that does encourage people to think and question and research what they know. However, in communities, and it will take a much longer time for this to change, because communities can be very traditional and very cultural. But I think the really online aspect of the female reciters movement is key to sparking change, because it will awaken hearts to another reality and give people a glimpse of a future that can be if we collectively work together for it. So even though there's not much movement...
Saber, thank you both for your time. Sophia, so tell us, you know, from the documentary, from what you have gleaned from your research, your work there, how far away are we, particularly in the UK, from being in a situation where female reciters aren't something that are unusual?
I think it's really absolutely impossible to measure that, and I'll tell you why. And it goes from what Medina was just talking about the importance of digital expressions of faith and encountering things online. There are now, because of her work and because of the work of other women in the space who are trying to raise visibility and awareness of female recitation, which, just like Medina Crusade has been describing, is part of Islamic history. You know, it's nothing new. It's part of history. Because of that, videos are beginning to surface. The more people that watch these videos will mean that in Google search, when you type reciter, you know, at some point we are going to start seeing those Google searches be populated with more and more women. And so in terms of reciting in public, the public sphere is very different to the public sphere of a century ago. The public sphere now, you can see someone recite in public on your phone. You don't actually need to be in the physical space to see them recite. So as a result, we're certainly going to start seeing far more people being exposed to the female voice, but it does rely both on people to platform these voices, to record these voices and upload these voices, and in lots of cases it does rely on almost social media marketing, you know-how and how you get a hashtag up and going, how you get the word out, and just like I said, how you make sure that you platform these women in what we call SEO-friendly in the journalism world. It means that if something is search engine optimized, you're far more likely to see it when you Google Quran reciter, right? So the more sort of sophistication that we start seeing around platforming female voices, we don't need to rely on mosques necessarily to platform them, even though that's of course what they should be doing. We've got to a stage with social media that it's also in our own hands.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, there are two worlds there that we're talking about, the social media sphere, but also the real sphere. And actually, as you said there, the public sphere can be both, can be one or the other, but also which one is actually getting the message out more? Will it be the siloed real-life one that we see in local communities, or is it on social media as well, where we can spread messages further? So lots to think about there, Sophia. And you mentioned there as well that actually you do a lot of work with TikTok and Instagram and ways to find stories as well. How do you use that? What is that work there that you do there?
I find stories just by, I'll use a sort of different tools. Sometimes I might use a tool, for example, at BBC, we use something called CrowdTangle that helps you peel through internet rising and declining trends, i.e. things that are increasingly popular, and you try and figure out why. Similarly, I spend a lot of time in communities, for example, subreddits, Facebook groups, and I dwell in the comment sections of the different posts and videos that I see performing well, purely out of my own internet searches. And once you've spent some time reporting, you pick up a bit of a new sense, what makes a good story, and I see a post and I think, there's something there that needs a bit of light on, and currently it's very dark. So it's my job just to help voices that already